Good morning on this wonderful morning. Seems to be a little bit warmer today, so we'll probably go for a little ride in the afternoon. There's Scott, my border collie, always ready, and Jenkins, the robot, going home. He got stuck yesterday night, and I got the alarm, but I probably was asleep when I got it when he got stuck. So anyway, I'm very excited today because Monday, so I nipped down to the hydraulic shop and solved the oil cooler issue. So found a plug, purposefully made. It's good for 100 bar or 1500 psi, so that should do. Comes with an O-ring fitting. Then we have, instead, well, it was impossible to find any plug for this, so the easier way was to have a new hose made, and that's actually a good thing because fewer plugs, the safer it is. And also I had it made like 1 inch longer, because when you change or inspect the cam belts, it's very tight to get the cam belt cover off on the horizontal cylinder. So this should be all in all much better. With a little bit of luck with these parts, we should be able to start it up today. So let's see how we go. Oil cooler with new hoses and plugs in place, and as you can see now, it's a better fit than the old one. Fairing goes here, just clears it, and there's plenty of space to get to the cam belt for service or for inspection in the future. Very good. Right, I've hooked up the battery temporarily, and the fuel tap is on. The SS has a quite handy fuel tap that you can turn off and on. It also has a return because it has a pump inside the tank. Gravity feed would only get you half tank otherwise. The Monster doesn't have that provision. It has an external vacuum pump. It's a little bit different. So I've opened the fuel tap and let gravity do its job, because first thing is to check for any leaks. So ignition on, and we let the float bowls fill while we look for any signs of leaking. All seems good this side. Let's have a look here. Oh, looks good and dry. How about inside the carbs? Right, I need to get the light. Nothing. Okay, so I think we're good for next step. Right, ignition coils are hooked up. And who thinks we're going to have a start? We might have to do a little bit of easy start, but let's try it. Well, it started. Well, there we go. Let it idle a bit. Actually, idle is not that far off. Got that characteristic whistle of the FCRs. Well, it will need a little bit of adjusting on the fuel screws, I think. When it does like that, it hangs. It means that it's a little bit too lean. So we'll open the fuel screws half a turn. So I'm going to adjust the fuel screws. Here's a top tip. On the screwdriver, I've made two markings. One black, one white. And that's half a turn apart. So it's easy for me to see what half a turn really is. So let's go ahead. It runs lumpy, of course, that's to be expected. First start. Remember I talked about synchronization and how you can't really do it while it's running, but you can measure it while it's running, of course. So I use this old vacuum tool, which is really perfect for the thing. I bought it for my race car really donkeys years ago. So let's start it up and see if we have any synchronization problems first. That's where to start first. We're at 4 or even less. Here we can see we're at 5, so we have a synchronization problem which we gotta fix first. Have to let it warm up completely before we start adjusting anything. You can also hear that it's coughing a little bit, and that's probably the air correction jets need adjusting a little bit. Probably turn them in, close them a little bit. So doing the synchronization is really quite annoying, because you got to whip the cover off, then you got to loosen this nut, and then you got to adjust the little tiny screw there, tighten the nut, put the cover back on, measure, and it's really hit and miss. So I don't know, is this the 4th or the 5th time I'm taking the cover off and adjusting, but never give up. Yippee! Success. So we're at 5 there on the left hand side. And we're at 5 here as well. Look at that. Fantastic. Syncing the cards helped with the hang problem as well. Yep, certainly did the trick. Just perfect. Alright, everything is in place. Air and battery box, coil packs and CDI boxes. All the connections are made. And it's nice and dry. There's no leaks of oil or fuel or anything, it seems. And, okay, so any adjustment, well, because I drilled the holes, you remember, for the slow air correction jets, so I can get to those without removing the airbox or anything, just the filter and the lid. And it's easy to get to the fuel screw. And in fact, when the small parts arrive, like the diaphragm and spring for the accelerator pump, I can actually mount that without taking the carbs off, do it from beneath, no problem at all. Done it several times. So conceivably, we could go for a ride. Let me have a coffee first and a little bit of relaxing with my dogs, and I'll see you after the first ride. Okay, ready for the first ride. It will be a short test ride just to get a feeling, and especially the transition between idle and the main jet circuit. So let's go. starts exactly on the button and idles very nice. The synchronization was really what solved a lot of the lumpiness in the beginning. Man, what a ride! Well, I really surprised myself. The carbs are spot on. There is no hesitation, there's no problem transitioning from through the rev range. It pulls like a train from 1500 revs, which it never did with the Mikunis, and it goes like stink. It's absolutely fantastic. It transforms the characteristics of the bike, and it's ultra smooth. It's as smooth as, and I think the biggest problem now will be to avoid any tickets, because it's a totally different bike. And the best part, spot on. There's no adjustments to be made at this time. I might discover something later, but there's no coughing, there's no spluttering, no detonations in the exhaust or coughing in the airbox. Everything just works and spot on. I will put up the settings in the comments of this video for other people to see as well. Okay, time to thank some people. First of all, Sebastian in Germany, who sold me the carbs. Thank you very much, Sebastian. That was very kind of you. Second is obviously, it's the guys at Hydroscand in Piteå who made me who solved my oil cooler problems and made me a new hose while I was waiting there, pressed it together very nicely. And who else? I can't think of it at this time, but okay. And one last thing. My life situation is, shall we say, a little bit strained. I lost my wife in May, and I'm 64 years old and can't get a job. So if you find this series of clips useful and you want to thank me, you can do so by PayPaling, whatever you like, a few dollars, euros, or whatever. I mean, it's up to you. I'll put my email address in the comments as well. Thank you for now.